Welcome back to Pewdiepie. I'm Zui and I hope you enjoyed today's video. But before we get right into it, I'm obligated to remind you to click either the like or dislike button, commenting something down below, and of course sharing the video so more people can see and enjoy it. This is very important as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. I want you to know that your help is greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions or ideas for a story, my Discord link is in my link tree that is down in the description, as well as my Patreon and Ko-fi for any donations you may want to send my way. Every cent counts. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Bakugou awoke at the first morning rays. Thankfully his bed was right under his window. The barbarian sat up and looked outside. One of the big differences between humans and elves was the simple fact that the elusive forest dwellers were quite nocturnal, though the city was still pretty much deprived of any people. But that was good. After enjoying the early morning race for a bit, he jumped out of his bed and began packing his things. His profession as a poacher allowed him to make a few upgrades from back when he was a mercenary. Thick, white fur boots, rough yet protective leather pants, and a beautiful white fur cape that could be turned into a poncho if needed. Ceremonial barbarian amulets and talismans hung around his neck. And with a proud grin, he took hold of his precious new black iron axe. While there were tactical reasons that spoke for the use of black iron in weaponry, such as the material's ability to absorb sunlight, allowing it to deal devastating damage against demons and undead, it also was used traditionally by the barbarian tribes of the eastern Badlands for ceremonial and coming-of-age weaponry. After all, a barbarian was only as strong as their favorite weapon. Shouldering his bag of provisions, he stepped outside. Cool air blew in his face from the city's central mountain. And with a strange, melancholic feeling, he walked towards the city's gate. One last time, he looked back, vaguely in the direction of his house. His heart was pounding with pride and anticipation for the mission he was about to embark on. You, the goddess of victory, had given him. However, as he took his first step past the gate, someone called out to him, "Yo, Katsuki!" Bakugou's heart jumped. "Ichiro." The two men gave each other a manly handshake. "Where are you going?" asked the redhead. "To the Tower of Wishes." Unintentionally, the redhead's eyes moved to the barbarian's bare chest, the symbol of his goddess proudly showing just above his navel. "Yeah, thought so." What do you mean?" Kishima crossed his arms and forced a smirk. "Well, you're a champion, right? Champions gather at the tower, am I right? That's at least what the ancient text says." Bakugou really should have made research into the gods of the old faith. Maybe then he understood why he was practically painting a target on his back by showing off the symbol. Unless his goddess Superbia was a demanding woman, thought Kirishima. I'd like to accompany you." Bakugou smiled. "Really? I'm a barkeeper, and the best bars have good stories and music. Was thinking I could become a bard or something like that." With a smile, the barbarian scratched his chin. "That does sound nice. But the pilgrim butterflies around the tower, surely they will turn you to smoldering ashes." Kishima exhaled through his nose. "Oh yeah, I forgot." Kishima then reached for his pocket and offered Bakugou a notebook bound in leather. "Then at least please write your stories down here, okay?" Ichiro had a plan to kill his friend in the name of his master Invidia, the god of betrayal, and your brother Envy. The book was magical. Its pages made out of dried ogre hide. What made these books so special was that maps were crafted from the same ogre would then have the location of the book revealed. It would allow Kirishima to know exactly where Bakugou was at all times. I will, Eiichiro. Thank you very much. Bakugou was way too trusting, wasn't he? It hurt the half-elf's soul, but it had to be done. And the two friends bid each other farewell. Meanwhile, you were bathing in the pools of your world. A unique feature of the void that was your home was the power you had over it. Practically anything could be summoned forth from its mirror-like ground. So you had created a beautiful marble palace with a flick of your wrist, and staffed it with beautifully crafted statues that bowed to your every whim. One of the golems bowed before you and offered you a plate of golden grapes. "Oh, thank you, my dear," you said as you lavishly took one of the fruits in your hand and gently placed it in your mouth. It was such a sweet, juicy treat. Truly magnificent. Exactly what the gods like you deserved. Mortals truly are amazing beings, able to grow such magnificent plants. Grapes were a creation of your sister Sloth, who created the fruit to be the lazy man's snack, meant to be put in your mouth and suckled on until all the juice had come out. Yet despite that, it were the mortals who turned it from a sour little treat with thick, hard skin into this sweet, sweet nectar that they can also turn into wine, which in your opinion was an even greater sinful pleasure. A pleased sigh escaped you, and for a moment you allowed yourself to slide into the milk you were bathing in. It felt so good on your divine skin you could barely contain it. After a while, however, you opened your eyes. You haven't checked on Bakugou yet. Since you felt a little too lazy to leave your warm bath, you summoned a hand mirror into your left hand, projecting the image of your champion onto it. Oh, he's already on the road. Such a wonderful little man. You snapped your fingers and your golems brought you a plate with a single goblet filled to the brim with wine. Gingerly you took hold of it, pulled it to your lips, and drank the cold liquid. Delicious. However, as you returned the chalice to the plate, you were just about to submerge in the milk fully. A scream echoed from your mirror. With widened eyes, you stared at the image. Bakugou had heard it. He had pulled out his weapon and was charging towards the noise. Such a hero, you thought. The screams were coming from the thicket. The barbarian jumped over a fallen log and fell right into a round clearing. In its center were two people. A girl dressed in a black cloak was lying on the ground. No, she was kneeling. She was begging for her life. The other was dressed in the blue shirt of a noble from the Empire of the Sun. The crest of the Emperor, husband of the Sun Goddess, was proudly weaved into its chest. The man's right hand was covered in ice, while his other was set on fire. With both arms he pointed at the girl. "Now perish!" said the mage. Yet Bakugou was faster. With a pained face, he took on the brunt of the mage's fire attack, protecting the girl. Barbarians had an innate immunity to any magic except for faith incantations. "Ugh. You!" shouted the wizard. "How dare you interrupt this battle?" "Well, excuse me, dipshit!" Angrily the man shouted back. "The woman you have decided to protect is a vile champion of the old faith, and she must be eliminated." Finally he noticed the brand on Bakugou's chest. "I see. Protecting your own kind, are we?" He raised his ice-covered arm and fired hundreds of small icy projectiles at Bakugou. "Then die!" "God, no!" he shouted angrily. You knew exactly what Bakugou just stormed into like a complete moron. But this was no official champion match, so he couldn't intervene. Bakugou used his thick coat to block the icicles. By the gods, calm down, just tell me what's going on here. This woman is a necromancer, a follower of the heretical old faith, just like you. And who the hell are you then, huh? The man bit his lower lip, and the violent spells around his arms vanished almost instantly. Wait, you really don't know? Ignorant fool. Proudly he slapped his chest. I am Prince Shoto Todoroki, heir of the Empire of the Sun. Bakugou nodded. Alright. And what is a fancy pants noble doing with a girl like that, huh? He turned his head, but was surprised. She was gone. Wait, what the hell? You fool! You let her escape! Todoroki wasn't sure if he should chase after the girl or focus on the barbarian. Trying to regain his composure, Todoroki inhaled deeply. I am hunting heretics such as you in the name of the Empire. Proudly he opened up his shirt, revealing a champion's mark right above his chest. I have been chosen by the god of blood to cleanse the heretics of our land. Bakugou couldn't help but laugh. And let me guess, he also told you to go to the Tower of Wishes, am I right? Todoroki blinked in confusion and defensively took a step back. No? Stop lying, you idiot. You're a champion just as much as I am. You haven't been chosen by one of the new gods. You have become a champion of an old one. Bakugou could only barely suppress his laughter now. Stop lying! An ice projectile suddenly shot towards Bakugou. He dodged it by leaping to his left and rolled. You almost got me there, taunted the barbarian. How dare you dodge me? You needed to get Bakugou out of this. But how? After all, you couldn't intervene. Skillfully, Bakugou dodged barrage after barrage, his body covered in dirt and grass stains. Still, he couldn't get a single hit in. Todoroki would just not allow it. But suddenly, Bakugou rushed forward, almost taking the mage by surprise, and of course, you. He sidestepped away from Bakugou. Such an easy-to-read attack, barbarian. Shoto then noticed the sudden absence of the blonde's axe. Wait. And then, a sharp pain made the mage scream in agony, while Bakugou just stood there with a smirk. He pretended to dash into the mage as a form of attack, but right before the mage dodged, he had thrown his axe upwards. And as Shoto had been busy gloating, it fell right back into his shoulder. With a pained grunt, he ripped the weapon out and threw it blindly at the barbarian. How dare you! Was Bakugou about to kill a champion? Excited you go closer to your mirror, not to mention Varaf's champion. Neat. You nobles are all the same. Think high and mighty, yet fall for the first trick attack. It's pathetic. Bakugou watched as Shoto froze, the wound over to prevent blood loss. Meanwhile, the barbarian got his axe back. Well, are you giving up, big guy? You got me once, barbarian. And I'm still unscathed. Says more about me than it does to you, doesn't it? Katsuki forced a smile. In actuality, his body hurt from all that rolling, and he was quite exhausted. You're going to the Tower of Wishes, correct? So why waste energy now? Are you trying to sneak your way out of this one? Angrily, Bakugou spit at the noble. Are you the one who almost lost his arm? Just take the loss. I'm letting you go, goddammit! Todoroki's mind was racing, heart pounding. It was true in his sheltered life, the worst pain he ever felt was when his father burned his face during a training session once.
yet this almost fatal wound on his arm hurt so much more. Didn't your daddy tell you it's okay to lose a battle once or twice, as long as you win the war in the end? For a moment, the two men just stared at each other down, when suddenly 2 skeletal arms erupted from the ground, grabbing Todoroki's feet. Scared, he screamed as he was dragged underground. Ah! Ah! Help me! What the? Bakugou jumped backwards, as from the other end of the clearing the girl approached from a bush. Thank you, kind stranger, she said with a smirk. Her hood of her black cloak covered half of her face. He took me by surprise and almost killed me. If I had known beforehand, I could have easily won. Who the fuck are you? Asked Bakugou. She pulled back her cloak, revealing short brown hair, surprisingly rosy cheeks, and a mark right around her left eye. I'm a Chaco Uraka, champion of Lady Greed, and high-ranking necromancer. Bakugou readied his axe, but the girl just raised a finger. I won't attack you since you saved my life. Plus, my minions are kinda busy with him. A large pillar of flame shot out from the hole Shoto was in, and the girl just shook her head. Where are they taking him? Just outside the forest. I don't intend on killing anyone before this all starts properly. Besides, the corpses under our feet aren't that powerful, mostly animals and maybe a few dead vagrants, but I'm sure at the tower I can make something that will make me win in the end. How many minions can you command? She smiled an innocent smile. Enough. Bakugou felt the cold shower wash over his back. Anyways, I would be honored if you could not turn into a violent brute until we meet one-on-one on the tower. Bakugou gulped. He had never fought a necromancer before. As a matter of fact, the necromancers were allies of the eastern tribes, so there really wasn't a need to fight one. Todoroki should be far enough away now. Todoroki should be far enough away now, she giggled. Imagine him arriving dead last at the Tower of Wishes thanks to our little tussle. She walked closer to Bakugou and quickly pecked his cheek, making him blush. I'll see you later then, big guy. And with that, she just walked away. Bakugou, on the other hand, felt incredibly weak and deflated. This woman had such a violent aura of pure intimidation, despite her small stature and childlike facial features. Bakugou made a rest at a small roadside inn. It was sparsely populated, and the man behind the bar eyed him up and down. What will it be, stranger? I need a bath and a bed for the night. 8 gold. Quietly Bakugou paid. He was shown his room and then left alone. It was small. On his right was a wooden washtub, and on his left a small hay bed. Reminded him of the old times. The owner soon returned to Bakugou, placing 2 water buckets on the ground before once again leaving so quickly Bakugou couldn't even thank him. Silently he filled the tub, shed his clothes and stepped into it. The water just barely reached his navel, but it was better than nothing. Katsuki didn't feel like he won. He felt like he was about to die, in fact. He leaned against the tub's edge when suddenly 2 warm hands caressed his shoulders. He shook, but the unknown intruder had incredible strength. Instead, he just exhaled sharply when he heard your voice. Letting your prey just be taken by someone else, you mocked.
My lady, I'm naked.
So am I. What's the matter with that? You retorted. His heart jumped, and yet he almost opened his eyes. But he felt if he caught just a glimpse of your naked form, he'd go blind. The smell of milk was in the air. I came as fast as I could. That was such an obvious lie. After you saw that your champion was alright, you finished your bath with a sulking scowl. You couldn't believe what he had just transpired. And you needed to cool off first, or risk killing your own champion out of sheer frustration.
My lady, I hope I'm still in your grace after that.
You haven't lost, haven't you? But you also didn't win, which is disappointing. I'm surprised, truthfully. I thought you're barbarian, and you don't show mercy. Have I been misinformed?
It felt wrong to end his life now. I mean, we're supposed to do that in the tower, correct?
Your hands embraced his bare chest. That is correct. But there's no rule that says it's not allowed to thin the competition before the big fight. He shrugged.
Doesn't matter now, does it?
You smirked. Your manhood seems quite excited to see me, though. Bakugou blushed hard. Remember what I promised to you, dear champion. Don't disappoint me. He groaned excitedly before asking,
My lady, will you really do that? I mean,
Shush. You snapped your fingers, and, at least for now, his lips were gone completely. He was about to panic, but then he felt your hands caress his hair. Shut up, and listen. The winner of this tournament gets one of their wishes fulfilled, as long as the gods agree with the wish, of course. Me lying with you is merely an incentive. So in a way, my dear champion, you will get 2 rewards, should you win. Your hands kneaded into his shoulders now. Excited, you bit your lower lip as you returned Bakugou's mouth.
You're too kind, Lady Superbia.
You have failed,
boomed a voice inside Todoroki's mind. I know, my lord. He was scared. After all, he disappointed not only his bloodline, but also his god.
at the very least you know what you're up against. Right, Shoto?
The noble was somewhere underground. The arms had dragged him down here into what seemed to be an old mine shaft. He summoned a fireball above his head to give him light. I will kill them, my lord. I promise.
You better, or your family will fall into ruin. I can promise you that.